Morning, everybody. Welcome. A roll up to another stand together. Hi, how are you? Jump on. Give me a good morning. Give me a hi. And let's jump on and get rolling with another stand together. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay, whatever platform you're watching on. And if you are watching on a replay, maybe come and watch this live, because the more of you guys that are hanging out doing this and loving this live, the longer I'll do this for. I'll continue to do this. As much as you're loving this, I'll continue to do this as much as I can for you guys and find some time in my morning to be able to do this, because it's incredibly busy, just like I'm sure you guys are. Hey, jump on and say good morning. Who's on today? Sarah's on, Alicia's on, Mandy's on, Carissa's on, Kim is on, Anthony's on, Belinda's on. Who else is on? Bonnie's on, Danielle's on, Garania's on. Jump on, give me a good morning. David, Amanda, Mia. So many of you guys jumping on. Jump on and give me a good morning. Jules is on. Jump on and say hi. Give me a good morning. Welcome to another Stand Together. And a cool one again for you today. Yasmin, good to see you. Mary, good to see you. Paul, good to see you. Nikki, good to see you. Jump on. Jeffrey, Mariana. Jump on. Just singing everybody's name this morning. It's how it works. Lee and Justin. Justin and Lee. Depends on who I'm liking better that day. Ivan. Christy. Hey, jump on. Say hi. Welcome. Give me a good morning below, so I know you're there and you're paying attention, ready to rock and roll. Hey, welcome to another Stand Together. I don't know the fucking number. I'll work it out later. Number something. I think it's been 2 weeks. Don't know. So welcome to Stand Together. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to another chance for us to be able to hang out. Remember, the idea of this is real simple. I'm jumping on every morning. I'm giving you something that I think is working right now, something you can implement and do. Asking you to be able to, share those things, and more importantly than sharing those things, implement those things into your own life and your own business. We're also joining each other just for everyone to stay leaning into this process and make sure that you're all staying together and you are finding a chance to jump in and know that there's other people out there that are trying to keep going and keep surviving. And there's a lot of news out there all about the doom and gloom and about this and that. I think it's important we have some positivity and some things that are proactive around us as well. And that's what this is about as well. So I hope you've been enjoying the Stand Together series, and I've been enjoying hanging out with you guys at 8 o'clock in the morning. Boy, yesterday was a big day. 17 meetings with business partners here and around the world. Huge amount of new things going on and some real fun stuff as well. So, it's funny. Part of what I wanted to talk about is what was really interesting is that 3 of my new deals that I'm working on at the moment. Three. Which one? 3, that one. 3, that's better. 3 of my new deals I'm working on at the moment that we're putting together have actually come off the back of my personal brand, right? Of who I am and what I do outside of what I do in business. You see, it's fairly uncommon to get people that spend most of their time doing something that then goes out there and teaches it. And so for me, I spend 70% of my day running my VC firm and growing my venture capital businesses, and maybe 30% of my day, the other 30% of my day is dedicated to doing this, right? Is educating people and making sure that I'm helping people, and also I would say, as well as that, I would say my charity as well is probably where we spend another percentage of my time, right? So What I've been doing is I've been sharing the things that I do, right? And I share the things that I do along the way. And for me, what was really interesting is, as I've spent 15 years now trying to grow businesses, and I wasn't successful to begin with. My journey of teaching, funnily enough, of doing this, educating, not at this level, obviously. Things have come a long way. But when I very first started, I was literally just teaching anything I could work out in businesses that were working, right? So I was just teaching things that were actually working, because there were things that weren't working at the very beginning, and I wasn't teaching those things. And what I realized along the way is I continued to go out there and share, and not just about sharing, but go and write books and go and, go do speeches and go and, spend time, energy, effort, and resources growing my brand, I didn't really realize the impact that it would have instantly, because it's one of those things that you don't necessarily realize instantly the impact that you can have with your personal brand when you first decide to go and do something about it. But it's one of those things that kind of gradually builds. So back to yesterday, 17 meetings, back-to-back phone calls, emails, Zoom, WhatsApp, joint calls, everything, from some deals that have already been done and just working on some new potential opportunities. And what was really interesting that came off is three of the most prominent ones that I've been dealing with have all come off the back of my brand, right? And my personal brand, aside from my businesses and the things that I do in my companies. Because you've got a company brand, right? You've got a brand that you have in a company. So whatever your company name is, you've got that. You build a brand around it. You build marketing and content around it. And for me, personal brand is just this. I mean, you've got to make a decision to do something like this. Richard Branson, he is Richard Branson. You know that he founded the Virgin Group. But if I said to most of you, what's the richest company in the world? You'd probably say to me, it's Apple. I can guarantee that most of you would tell me that it's an Apple or something like that. And 99.9% of people would guess it wrong, that the richest company is actually a Saudi Arabian oil company, which is richer than Apple, but you don't know who they are. You probably maybe heard of them. You don't know who the CEO is. You don't know. So not a lot of people, aside from growing their business, go out there and grow their brand. Janine Ellis, a good friend of mine, she has Boost Juice, but she's grown her brand separately. You might not really know who else is behind the brand, her partner in Jeff, because he doesn't really grow his personal brand as much as what she might. Naomi Simpson, she has the Red Balloon Group, the Big Red Group rather, and then she grows her own personal brand. There's this real knock-on effect of having a personal brand and what it means for you, because yesterday, in these conversations I was having, 13 of those came into fruition, right? They came into fruition, but they only came into fruition because I had grown my brand. I had been in a position where I'd been going out there and sharing and being around the world and taking my time around there to go and share my time and my vision. And some of those deals had come to me through that process, right? Now, what I want to tell you is that creating a personal brand, for me when I very first started, I didn't expect that to have a knock-on effect into my world of my VC and what I do around investment deals or in charity. Sometimes I've spoken to people and said, listen, I really want you to contribute to the charity, and whether they be giving a slice of their profits to my charity so it can do good, like with the Monash Health Foundation we're working with this year. But then through having a brand, I was able to make those phone calls and get through to more people and connect to more people. So what I'm here to tell you is that I'm a big fan of personal brands, and I think that not enough people take it on to do these because they're worried about what do they say, how do they do it, what's the process. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is to encourage you that not only is it important to have a personal brand, right, but moving into more of the 21st century that we are in now, and more of the world that's connected through people and driven through ideas of people like this, where we're speaking to people, more than ever before, a personal brand is becoming more and more and more important. You've got to start thinking about yourself like a business, right? You've got to start thinking about yourself like a business. You got to start saying, okay, what am I doing right now? And do I have my own domain? Do I have my own Instagram and Facebook and handles, or have I just got my my personal one? Do I have one that I use for my personal brand that I want to grow and use for my personal brand? Do I have that? Am I using that for my personal brand? Do I know what my personal brand wants to be? What does my brand want to be about? What do I want to speak about? What's important about my brand? What are the things that are important for me to share? What do I feel like I want to be in my brand? All these questions need to start coming up, because a brand, you don't know how far that can take you. You don't know the collaborations you can have, the cut through you can get, the influence you can create, and the income that you can create off the back of that influence, because you pick up the phone and say, hey, I run blah, blah building company. I run blah, blah plumbing and co. I run this agency, and I want to collaborate with you in our brand. And if you've got a brand, people know who you are. Think about it. Any one of us can get a phone call from Oprah Winfrey or from Elon Musk or from Richard Branson. And if they said they want to collaborate, they wouldn't even have to finish their pitch. And you're like, I'm in. I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm there, I'm in, right? So that's called a personal brand. So, and I always use Richard as an example because what I like about Richard is that Richard is quite an introvert, and even Elon for that matter. He's, but Richard's quite an introvert, but he understands the power of his brand. He understands the power of creating a message and going out there and sharing that. He understands the power of being Richard Branson. And guess what? When he went through the most challenging time, and he's still going through it right now, but the most challenging time of COVID, where 80% of his 400 companies were exposed to the lockdowns right across the world. I mean, we're talking about health, leisure, travel, flight, this is, we're talking about almost every business, right, has been massively impacted, yet he was able to survive and thrive and make a phone call to the bank and say, hey, I'm Richard Branson. I need some money right now and I want it at a 2% interest rate so I can go out there and save my Virgin group. They're going to be a lot more open to that when that person has influence, that person has some kind of standing in the community. So what I'm saying to you is this: good, bad, or ugly, growing a personal brand can be really effective, and it really does help. I mean, I have realized more as I've gone, because it becomes compounding. The more you do it, the more you get compounding, right? So even if you just start, you say, okay, Aaron, how do I do this? Do I post something on Instagram? How often do I post on Instagram? What should I do? All I tell people is get your website, right? If you don't have your own website, you got to go get your own website. Get as close as you can to your name, and go register your website. Then get your social media handles if you want to. I agree. I think you should be doing that. Then you're going to start putting together what is your content going to look like. Now, this process of building a brand, I normally take 3 days to do this when I sit with my Empire Circle mastermind group, and we do this in an immersion called Brand Immersion in Sydney. We actually just did that before Sydney had all their cases. Luckily, we did it earlier. And really what that is about understanding what your brand is and unpacking it, uncovering, actually designing it and building it, which is a big part. For us, we don't have 3 days on this session. We've got about half hour. So what I can give you in this time is registering your brand and working out what your brand wants to stand for, and just encouragement to know that the more that you put yourself out there, the more you're going to start seeing the net effect of that. Now, that might not be straight away. So in this instant gratification economy that we live in this society where people want to I want to go to the gym and run for 2 days and lose half of my body weight, you've got to have a little bit more patience in that. And I can tell you that now, having done this now I didn't even, Facebook now has been maybe 12 years on Facebook and Instagram, as long as Instagram's being around. Listen, this stuff doesn't happen overnight, unless you come up with something that catches fire and everyone loves it, or you put a ton of money behind it, then not everyone starts to get tons of followers straight away. And again, followers compound. You might start with, you might start with 100 followers. Then you might, maybe get 150, over a few months. Then you might get to 200. Then eventually you start to get to 10,000 and it becomes 15,000. Then you're going to go, wow, that happened quickly. I got 5,000 followers pretty quickly. And that's because he starts to compound and it starts to grow. But what I'm going to tell you is that your brand is a really critical thing to you in your business. I have people that want to work for me for free, paid and for free, because of who I am, my brand. They just want to be around my brands and learn. Now, that's not because of what my companies do. It's because of the brand. Now, this is telling you this to impress upon you that a brand, right? A brand that you can build can do massive things if you just make that decision and that commitment to say, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to build it, I'm going to go register my own domain, I'm going to do my own, I'm going to have my own social media, I'm going to start standing for something and putting something out there. But this is the time. Now, I might share with you over the next, a couple of lessons over maybe the course of this week. I might start sharing with you about other ways about building a brand. But this is about just reminding you, if you don't already have it, or if you do already have your own personal brand, reminding you that this is the time that you should be doing something. This is the time where people are paying attention to the airwaves even more. If they're in lockdown, they're on their phone more, right? They're not in the office as much. They're on their phone more. That's a fact. If you look at the statistics over lockdown, people's phone use almost doubles. So we're seeing that's happening a lot more. So this is where the airwaves are open to be able to start building your brand and having conversation with people right now. But I want you to draw a line in the sand and stop saying at some point, I'm going to fucking do my brand. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to stop saying that. You need, at some point, just build your brand. Build your brand. Go and find, if you don't know, like, I'll give you a quick tip on this. Go and find somebody you like that you kind of want to have a brand like, and go start to emulate that. Go and think about it. What is it? Do they have a website? Do they have social media? What are they doing on there? What are the things that I can do? And then when I say emulate, I don't mean copy all the things that they say. I mean emulate. You could go, hey, I like the way somebody does that in a business. You can do that, but then you can go and you got to go and create your version of what that is. What is your brand? What are you going to stand for? What are the things that you can be about? And then get out there and start sharing. Get out there and start sharing. Get out there and start creating something that people can start to identify with and understand and connect to, because the power of this, yesterday, 17 meetings, and the easiest 3 meetings were those first time meetings of people I spoke to that came to me because of my brand, pitching to me to be their investor. And why? Because they know who I am. They know the power of what I can do in terms of my influence and the connections that I have. Now, again, I'm talking to you this from a case in point, right? I'm not beating on my chest saying, look at me. I'm teaching you something. I'm saying that, hang on, if you've got a brand, you are going to have more ability to create income, more impact, and more influence. And that's the power of what this may be. But listen, you've got to start doing more of it. And you can't expect instant gratification. Listen, if you're doing a marketing campaign and you've got a call to action to click here and buy here, or click here and give me your details for a lead, you're going to have a lot more instant gratification. But if you're looking to grow your followers, to get likes, to get comments, to get engagement, I can tell you from personal experience, that is a road that takes a while. I'm telling you that now, right? There's no way to get around it. If you want to start growing and start doubling, well, if you go to 10 followers, doubling goes to 20 followers, doubling goes to 40 followers, doubling goes to 80 followers, right? If you got 50,000 followers, you can double pretty easily to 100,000 followers. Then you'll double pretty easily to 200,000 followers. If you're following a process and a system, you're spending time on your content. And if you're really serious about this, you should be spending money. You should be spending money on marketing your brand. You should be spending money on marketing, on PR, on either people to do it for you. So people to do the creative for you. Half the videos that you see on my socials, I don't sit there and create. Do you really think I sit there and create all my videos? That would be a full-time job. In fact, it's multiple people's full-time jobs to do that, a whole department to do that, right? So, but did I have that to begin with? No. And don't let that hold you back because you can't ever put a fancy video up every 20 minutes like some people can. It's taken time to build that for me. It's taken time for me to build a team to do that. But in the meantime, you can go and you can press record. You can go and press live. You can go and share your views and your opinions around what your brand is all about. You can go and start to sit down and work out what your brand is, and you can start to build yourself. And that's what this is about as well. Does that make sense to you? So today's just encouragement for you to go out there and build your brand. If you've registered that domain, great. Go get a fucking website. Go get a website. Go get it done, right? Go get one done. Go and get one created, right? Even a basic personal brand one. If you need help on that, DM me. I've got people I can connect you with that do personal branded websites, and they're not going to charge you, 10,000, 20,000 for it. And some do, and I have companies that do charge that, but I'll connect you with others that don't. But you've got to get your own personal branded website. So DM me if you want that. You've got to be focusing on marketing, right? And engagement. And if you need help, let me know. But you've got to focus on that. This is the time to do that. If you start treating yourself like a business, people ask me, Aaron, why do you spend so much on your own mentoring? I spend massive amounts of money on my own mentoring, on advisory boards, on consultants, on advice, on mentors and coaches. Why? Because I'm a business. Me, myself, as a human, I'm a business. I make the decisions in my life. I decide to buy a company, sell a company. I decide to make this move or that move. So if I'm a business, right, then should I not be eating right, exercising, spending money on my brain, doing things that make me feel good, getting people that can teach me stuff that I can use for the rest of my life? That's what I love about learning things. Once you learn something, you learn how to speak in primary school, and when you were a kid, you haven't had to learn how to do that again unless you're in something unfortunate. You've had to know how to learn how to do that again, right? And you're still getting an ROI on the words you learn 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago of your life in school. So this is why you got to learn, because you can get an ROI on learning for the rest of your life. You got to start treating yourself like a business, right? Scheduling yourself like a business, taking the time to think about all of this like a business. Say, this is my brand. I need to spend some time and build my brand, because I tell you the knock-on effects of that are huge. They're huge. I can tell you that from personal experience. And it gets better and better and better and better and better and better and better the more your brand grows and more opportunities open up to you. If I knew, listen to me very carefully, if I knew the impact of my personal brand could have on me now, which it does, if I knew that when I very first started, I actually would have gone harder and faster. I wouldn't have dragged my feet as much. I'll tell you that now. I reckon I dragged my feet a little bit in probably the first 5 or 6 years in my 15 years of doing this, maybe a bit more. I reckon I dragged my feet a bit. But now knowing the impact, I would have gone harder in the first couple of years. And now I'm playing catch up, on some of that. So listen, what I'm saying to you is that a brand is critical for you to start building right now. It's going to be critical for you to be able to build your businesses. And the other final thing I want to tell you about when it comes to your brand, right, is that when you sell out of your company, right, when you sell your company and you move on, you sell out of your company, if you decide to do that, what you're left with is money. So whatever the money you make from selling the company, but then that's it. There's nothing else you're left with. Whereas if you build your personal brand, you've got it for the rest of your life. You've got this thing that follows you around everywhere that you've got as your brand, that you can go and create more businesses off. You can create a whole bunch more of things off the back of this, right? And this is the critical part. Like, I would say I didn't really start to push my personal brand until I probably in my 30s. I probably didn't really start to push my personal brand till then. And I know others that haven't actually. I work with a guy, a few of them, but I remember one that comes to mind now. He came to me as a student. He's 58. He just grew his brand, and by 60 now, he's got 500,000 followers. He's got a huge engagement. He speaks, he coaches. He's got about 7 new businesses, and I worked with the guy now for it's been about maybe almost 4 years now, and he's grown a massive brand in his 60. He's 60. And he's from 56 or something, or 57 to 63 years. It's not a bad age. You can be 19 and grow a brand. You can be. I've got a student of mine who is, how old is he? He'd be 14, and he makes about $18,000 a week from YouTube. From YouTube ads, right? He does skateboarding, and he has his ads turned on his YouTube ad roll. And he makes about 17 grand, and he's, I think, about 14 years old. And he's making more money than his parents because he's grown his brand. He's doing something about it. Does that make sense? So this is about understanding that you need to focus on your brand and how important it's going to be for you to be able to do that. I wish I could go back and tell myself this at the very beginning. I would have done it faster and quicker if I listened to his advice earlier on, but I didn't. And now I'm telling you this now because I realized it probably really halfway through my business journey. I realized it halfway through my business journey. I went, okay, I need to go deeper on this thing. And look, I've been traveling the world now for 12 years. Of my 15 years of business, I've been traveling the world, growing my brand for 12, but I really didn't step up to growing my brand to probably about 7 years ago, right? And that's what I mean, like really stepping up to growing a brand. This is the time to start really stepping up and doing this. And this is a perfect time in what's happening right now around the world. This is a perfect time with the airways that are open to people to start to share. This is the time to be looking at it as well. Makes sense? Okay, questions on brand or anything else. Throw me some questions, whatever you have. I've got a couple more minutes I have before I have another meeting coming up in 5 minutes, right? So we've got a couple of minutes now. What questions do you have? Anyone have any questions on personal brand or questions at all on anything? Time to be able to go and share that with me now. Of course, my key message this morning is about personal brand and about starting to really push it. If you already got it, push it. If you don't, go and get it. So let's do this. I want to get a brand. I want to hear from you guys now to start pushing your brand around. All right, what do we got? Hey Tanya, do you have any tips when you're deciding what you should name your brand of your company? Okay, so your personal brand should be your name. Your personal brand should be your name. You're welcome, Grania. Your personal brand should be your name. It should always be your name. Your company name, well, it just depends on your company. It just depends on what sort of company you have. If you've got, it depends, whatever your company name may be, there's a whole process I go through to naming companies, which includes making sure I can get the IP, making sure I can get the URLs, all the things I need as well. But your personal brand should be your name. Now, if you can't get your name, your own .com, my suggestion for you is to go and grab, let's say your name is, let me take someone's name here. Grania. I'm going to take yours, Grania Howard. You can't get Grania Howard, you get GraniaHowardOfficial.com if you can't get Grania Howard. Makes sense? All of you should be able to get your name with the official at the end. That's a great way to get your domain as well. Little tip for you. So many tips coming out here. All right, what else you got? Any other questions you have? Go ahead and throw those in. If you've got any questions down below, I'll be able to get those questions. It could be about personal brand, or it could be about anything around your business as well. So go ahead. What do you got? How consistent do my post reels need to be? Daily can be quite a task, can be very sick. Yeah, look, so Pete, look, for me, I think if you've got the ability to be able to bring other people on to start building content for you in terms of, following you around and doing that, great. I don't know where you're at. If you don't right now, Reels are probably the easiest thing to do. It's 15 seconds, and it's just recording little bits here and there, or even turning the camera around, pressing record, and like I am right now. So imagine if I was speaking to you, and I could speak to you for. Let's say I speak to you for a minute. I record it for a minute. I then go and I post it on my stories. I then go and click the button that says caption. It starts to caption the words for me automatically, and that can go on my Instagram. That would take me like right now I've been speaking for half an hour. You could chop this up into 30 1-minute segments that you could then post every day for 30 days on your feed that becomes a content piece or something. So that's what I would be doing. I think sometimes we overthink it, and the reason why sometimes it's a bit full on for everybody, and this could be true for you, Pete, is that it feels inconvenient. And I hear you, because it used to feel more, and it still is inconvenient for me, because I'm not one of these people that I don't spend all day on social media building my brand and talking about coming to events and courses with me. I spend 70% of my time actually doing my work and building an empire. The other 30% of my time is doing this, is sharing with others how to do it. So for other people out there that are full-time kind of, educators doing it, they literally spend their whole day, which is most people, creating courses and content and stuff for people. Whereas I'm the empire builder, right? That's why people call me Mr. Empire. They don't call me Mr. Teaching Empires. They call me Mr. Empire, because I build them and I teach them, right? So for you, I would just say capture what you probably one of the best pieces of advice I can give you, Pete, and everybody else, is capturing what you're doing during the day. Just capture segments here and there of what you're doing. You don't have to curate certain moments where you can go, okay, let me create a piece of content. Just start off by capturing some stuff in your day, some thoughts and some feelings or whatever it may be. Start off with that. And you've heard me say day, because you should be trying to do it at least every day, just once a day, doing something like that. That's important. The other tip I'm going to give you is choose one platform and go deeper on that. So for me, I do all the platforms, as you would probably see, but there's certain platforms that I'd go deeper on, like Instagram is where I probably spend most of my time right now and where most of my traction is happening. So you've got to work out maybe a platform you can spend your time on and go deeper on that one. That's what I would say as well. Make sense? What else we got? Do you create a logo for your personal brand? You don't have to, VJ, you don't have to, but if you do, just make sure it's not too full on and intricate. Some people make these really intricate personal brand logos and just don't work. I mean, imagine those on a polo, or imagine those on a, you got to imagine all the different locations you would put something like that. And just to me, you've got to make sure it's going to go everywhere. Mel, when creating a personal brand, how do you market yourself, knowledge, life experience? Yeah, look, I think you need to do a combination of all the things that you're passionate about. So about what you do, who you are. Your personal brand isn't your business, right? It's who you are. For me, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm an educator, I'm a father, I'm a human being, I'm an empire builder. I'm a human. I'm all these things, I'm all these things. So I talk about that. I talk about the things that are important in my world, exercising and I have children, and I talk about all those things that are important around my brand. So whatever's your life, really. Thank you. I get to be your morning coffee. Just to make sure that you're implementing as well. Yeah, love that. Appreciate advice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What else questions we got? Questions. Last one or two questions. Maybe last one question because I need to run as well. Yeah, tips for a logo. Look, again, for your business logo, I like a lot more simplicity. When it comes to logos, I'm not a big fan of either personal brand intricate logos or even business brand intricate logos. Yeah, I like people to think about where is the use of that logo going to be? Because if it's going to be in lots of different small and big places or whatever it may be, you've got to start thinking about where it's going to be used and whether it's going to be appropriate for that to be really intricate and detailed. I like more plain logos, and I think a lot of brands are moving that way anyway. Instagram versus LinkedIn versus Insta. It depends where your traction is, where your market is. I mean, Instagram is generally a lot more for the visuals. It was a younger crowd, but it's becoming a bit of an older crowd, which is good. If that's your crowd, Instagram, Facebook is still a very, very strong market. I mean, in marketing, Facebook is still the number one. In content creation, Instagram is quite strong. Look, LinkedIn is cool too, but LinkedIn I think is just a little bit behind in terms of its tools and its ability to be able to be used by the greater world and population. So again, this depends on your target market and the people that resonate with you the most. That's probably what I'd say to you. Make sense? Good. All right, time to go implement. Time to go kick some butt. We've talked about personal brand. And by the way, if you're loving personal brand, I might even share some more things about personal brands or personal brand ideas as we go along on these stand-togethers. If you are, hit me up, send me some DMs. Let me know what you're loving. Let me know what you want to hear more of. Go ahead and send me a DM and say, hey, I'd love to hear more of this, love to hear more of that. And hey, who knows? I might start to be able to share more and more and more of the things you're looking for as well. We can do that. Cool. All right, guys, much love. Kick some butt. Go and implement. Remember to share this. Share. Let's get some other people watching this and being a part of this. And let's go kick some butt and have an amazing day today. Remember, if you're going to live a life, right, you may as well live a life by design and not by default. Much love. Have an amazing day and see you tomorrow morning for another Stand Together. Bye.